Why your eyes water when you're angry comes down to one nerve that controls both your rage and your tears at the exact same time. Not sadness, not weakness, a wiring decision your body made long before you were born. Think about the last time it happened. You were furious, ready to shout, ready to stand your ground, and instead your vision blurred and your throat closed. It felt like the wrong response arriving at the worst possible moment. Like your own face turned against you in public. Most people carry that memory as proof they're too soft, too emotional, unable to hold it together when it counts. But that reading is wrong from the first frame. The same internal circuit that floods you with heat is the one that opens the taps behind your eyes. They were never separate systems. And once you see how tightly they're braided together, you'll stop apologizing for a reflex that was only ever trying to protect you. Here's the strange part worth sitting with. Anger is a state built for power. Your body braces to strike, to push back, to defend a line. And yet the outward sign, for so many people, is water. The eyes fill. The face crumples. The very thing that reads as fragile shows up in the moment you feel most fierce. It seems like betrayal, like your body chose the exact opposite of what you wanted. But it didn't choose the opposite. It chose overflow. Something was rising with nowhere left to go, and it found the nearest edge and spilled. That's a completely different story from the one you tell yourself in the mirror afterward. This isn't about being weak-hearted. It's about a system running hotter than the situation would let it discharge. And once you understand what's actually spilling over, you will never again call those tears a breakdown. You'll call them what they are. Pressure, escaping. You already know the moments. The argument you were actually winning, when suddenly your eyes stung, and you'd have given anything to make it stop. The unfair meeting where you had to stay composed, and the tears finally came out in the parking lot, alone, minutes too late to matter. The message that made your hands shake before you'd even finished reading it. In each of those, look closely at what you were feeling. It wasn't grief. It wasn't heartbreak. You were angry, and you were pinned. Your body had a full charge of energy, and absolutely nowhere approved to put it. That combination is the fingerprint of anger tears. Not sadness plus a trigger. Fury plus a locked door. The feeling wanted to move outward, into words, into action, into confrontation. And the situation, or your own restraint, held every exit shut. So the charge did what charge does when it's trapped. It looked for any way out it could find. Now watch where these tears actually show up, because the pattern is precise. They don't come when you can fight back freely. They come when you can't. The boss you cannot yell at. The parent whose words you're not allowed to answer. The stranger who cut ahead while you stood there and swallowed it whole. Anger that has a real exit rarely makes you cry. You spend it. You say the thing. You push back. The pressure leaves through the front door. But anger with every door bolted almost always finds the eyes. Psychologists who study emotion point to this again and again. The tears track powerlessness, not the intensity of the feeling alone. It's the gap between how activated you are and how little you're permitted to do about it. Widen that gap far enough, and something has to give. Your eyes are simply one of the places your body is willing to let it give. So what is actually firing under all of this? Your autonomic nervous system. The ancient part that runs without ever asking your permission. It manages your heartbeat, your breathing, your gut, your glands, and it does it in the background of every second you're alive. When something threatens you, its sympathetic branch throws the whole body into fight or flight. Your heart rate climbs. Blood pulls away from your stomach and races out to the big muscles in your arms and legs. Your pupils widen. Your senses sharpen to a point. In that instant, you are physically built to do one of two things: strike or run. Researchers consistently describe anger as one of the most physically activating emotions a human can have. It is not a quiet inward state. It is a full-body mobilization. Every part of you gets recruited for an action that your ancestors, out on the savannah, would have taken within seconds. Your whole system, in other words, is primed and waiting to move. But here's the trap that defines modern anger. You almost never get to strike, and you almost never get to run. You're sitting at a desk. You're on a video call. You're trying to stay professional, or kind, or simply out of trouble. The threat isn't a predator you can fight. It's a comment, an email, a person you cannot possibly touch or flee. So the surge your body built keeps climbing, with no legal outlet anywhere in sight. Picture an engine flooring the accelerator while the car stays locked in neutral. The tachometer screams into the red. Nothing moves. Your ancestors discharged this energy in seconds, through muscle and motion. You have to sit perfectly still and nod politely. That mismatch is enormous. Your body prepared a fire, laid it, lit it, and then was told it isn't allowed to burn anything. And energy that intense, once summoned, does not simply evaporate because it's inconvenient. Pressure that cannot move has to escape somewhere. And this is exactly where your tears walk in. The lacrimal glands, the little factories tucked behind your eyes, don't operate on their own private schedule. They sit under the same autonomic control as your pounding heart and your shallow, quick breath. They are wired into the very same storm. So they are not spectators watching your anger from the outside. They're part of the crew. When the whole system is overloaded and blocked from taking action, it starts reaching for any release valve it can reach. And one of those valves happens to produce water. This is the heart of it, the thing almost nobody tells you. The rage has no one to punch and nowhere to run. The charge has to leave the body somehow, so it takes the path that's open. It rises up behind your eyes, and it weeps. The tears aren't the opposite of the anger. They are the anger, wearing the only exit it could find. There's something hidden in the water itself, too. The biochemist William Fry spent years studying human tears, and he noticed emotional tears aren't chemically identical to the ones you shed slicing an onion. The reflex tears that protect your eye from irritation are mostly there to rinse and lubricate. Emotional tears, his work suggested, carry more protein and traces of stress-related chemistry your body produces when it's under pressure. That led to a bold idea. Maybe crying isn't only a signal. Maybe it literally helps flush some of that stress chemistry out of the body. Now, be honest about the science here. This hypothesis is still debated and the evidence isn't settled. It's an idea, not a closed case. But even taken carefully, it reframes the whole picture. Your emotional tears may not just be broadcasting the storm to the people around you. They may be part of how your body drains it back down. The overflow in that light isn't waste. It's release. Boxers understand this in their bodies long before anyone explains it to them. Picture the moment before a fight. The crowd is roaring, adrenaline is flooding in, the whole nervous system has gone to full mobilization, and the bell hasn't rung yet. That is rage, or something very close to it, with absolutely nowhere to go for another several minutes. Experienced trainers know that state intimately, and they know how dangerous it is. So many of them teach their fighters to breathe it down, to shake the arms loose, to move, to deliberately let the pressure off before the first round. Because a fighter drowning in contained fury doesn't step out sharp and controlled. He steps out trembling, sometimes with wet, stinging eyes, wasting the very charge he needs to fight well, leaking it through the wrong channel. What the trainer is really teaching is plumbing. Give this enormous energy a clean, chosen exit before your body picks a messy one for you. Now think about who tends to cry this way most, and why it gets so badly misjudged. Often it's the people trained for years to stay calm and swallow it. The ones who learned early that showing anger openly cost them something. Respect, safety, belonging. So they got very good at clamping the outward expression shut. But the pressure underneath doesn't disappear. It reroutes. Block one channel again and again, and the charge hunts for another. And the tear system is one of the paths it reliably finds, which flips the usual assumption on its head. The person quietly crying in frustration in the corner of a meeting is often not the most fragile one in the room. They may be the one holding the most, with the least permission to let any of it out the front. And notice the cost of misreading it. When your eyes fill mid-argument, you feel suddenly exposed. You assume everyone is watching you crack. So you soften. You apologize. You back down from ground you were right to hold. And the person across from you reads the tears through the same broken lens. To them, water means you've folded. A signal of internal overload gets mistaken, on both sides, for surrender. Whole conversations pivot on that single misunderstanding. Arguments that mattered, boundaries, decisions, settled not by who was right, but by whose nervous system overflowed first, and how everyone chose to read it. That's the quiet damage, not the tears, the story we've agreed to tell about them. So here's the reframe, and it changes everything about how you meet the moment. Anger tears are not a malfunction. They are a pressure release system doing precisely the job it was designed to do. Your body was engineered, over millions of years, to move that surge of energy outward into decisive action. When the modern world refuses to let it move outward, the body doesn't just cancel the whole response, it redirects it. And water is one of the cleanest, safest exits it has. Seen from that angle, the tears aren't evidence that something failed inside you. They're evidence the machinery is fully, stubbornly intact. You were built to protect yourself. And even when every obvious door is bolted shut, some deep part of you keeps searching for a way to discharge the threat. That searching is not weakness. It's the oldest kind of strength there is. The tears are that strength, still working, through the only channel it was left. We inherited this response from ancestors whose survival depended on discharging threat fast and completely. Their bodies didn't know the difference between a charging animal and a cutting remark. Yours still doesn't. The wiring is loyal. It's just older than the world you're using it in. And there's one small experiment you can run on yourself the next time it happens, framed simply as curiosity, never as a cure. When you feel your eyes begin to sting in a moment of anger, try naming it silently for what it actually is. Not, I'm being weak. Instead, my body has a charge it can't release right now. That single relabel does something quietly powerful in the mind. When you put an accurate name on a rush of arousal, you hand your thinking brain a role in the moment, and the raw signal often loses a little of its grip. Psychologists have studied this kind of affect labeling for years. It's no magic switch, and it won't erase the feeling. But many people find the wave becomes easier to ride once it's named correctly, instead of fought. You're not trying to stop the tears. You're trying to stop the second story, the shameful one, from stacking itself on top of them. Meet the water as information, not as a verdict on who you are. And watch how differently the whole moment moves through you. Which brings us back to where we started, and to the real answer underneath the question. This was never sadness wearing an angry mask. It was one system overflowing. Anger tears are your body voting for action in a room that won't allow the vote to count. That's the line to remember. Your eyes water because the fight has nowhere to land. Not because you're breaking, but because part of you is still fighting, through the last channel left open. So the next time your vision blurs while you're anything but sad, you don't have to read it as falling apart. You can read it as a nervous system that refused to just sit there and absorb the hit. It found the door it could reach. It moved the charge. That's not the story of someone too fragile for the world. It's the story of a body that, even cornered and silenced, still tried to protect the person living inside it. And that is worth meeting with respect, not shame. One nerve, running both the rage and the tears at the very same time. Not two feelings at war. One system, overflowing. So the next time your eyes fill and you feel anything but sad, you'll finally know what's really spilling over. Not sorrow, not weakness. Pressure your body couldn't punch. Charge it couldn't outrun. A fight with nowhere to land, finding at last the only door left open.